Hello YouTube. Valley Girl 5678 here. America's most Sagittarius, after Taylor Swift, of course, after Taylor Sagittarius Swift. It's very exciting as this is my first album review of 2023. So obviously today I will be reviewing the new Samia album, Honey. This is Samia's second full-length LP following 2020's The Baby. The entire album was written by Samia and produced by her good friend and collaborator, Caleb Wright, with many guests throughout for both writing and production credits that I will obviously get into. So yeah, let's get started. Track 1 is Kill Her Freak Out. It was the lead single for this album, released in the summer of 2022. I wanted to read what Samia said about this song specifically. I wrote this about withholding and then exploding. It's not even about jealousy. I never said how I really felt because I didn't want to scare them away. I tried to become them so they would want me around. I just couldn't do it for very long. I got tired and I was so lonely. In the first verse, we have Samia kind of imagining her ex-lover's new life with his new girlfriend. I'm assuming from his hometown in Texas, given the line, I'm thinking about Texas, and then later in the song, I hope you marry the girl from your hometown. This imagining is done in a bit of a self-deprecating way, as she still weaves herself into the narrative. How these thoughts of hers affect her personal relationship to herself is shown more literally in the chorus, with I've never felt so unworthy of loving. We then find her in the second verse reminiscing a bit more about their time together, which makes sense thematically as this song exists as a representation of like a spiral, a mental spiral that is, in Samia's mind. The simple production works well as it's very obvious that the focus of this song is the lyrical content, and I really like the melancholy that the production brings to the song sonically. The second track, Charm You, was written by Samia and Nick Gianci. What's cool about this song is there's actually no chorus. There's just 4 verses and an outro, so it really feels like she's telling us a story. The line, I just saw my life flash before your eyes, feels like the spiral that was the previous track, Kill Her Freak Out, but condensed into 1 second or moment. I actually really liked this genius annotation on that line specifically. Perhaps this refers to the death of the other person's perception of Samia rather than her real self. Trying to charm someone only works as long as you can maintain the facade, and here Samia may be alluding to the fear that a minor slip-up could bring the whole charade crashing down. I feel like the outro sums up the meaning of the song perfectly. Half-life of my mystifying isn't long enough for trying. I don't want to charm anyone this time. I don't want to make anybody mine. Mostly it's just, I don't want to end up crying. I don't want to charm you. The entire time we have a sense that the whole reason she doesn't want to charm anyone or this person is because she doesn't want to, end up getting hurt, but at the outro she finally kind of like admits that, and so I think it's a really great way to end the song and kind of like keep us on our toes. Track number 3, Pink Balloon, was the 3rd single on the album rollout, but it was released with Sea Lions, so Sea Lions was one of 2 third singles, I guess. This one was produced by Caleb as well as Ali B, and it was written by Samia and Caleb, as well as Christian Lee Hudson, who notably was one of the main co-writers on Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher. Not just the song, like the whole album. The entire song is beautifully written with a main theme of just the complexity of friendship. Track number 4 is Mad at Me feat. Papa Maybe. Now this one was produced by Caleb and Rostam, and it was written by Samia, Papa Maybe, Rostam, and Charlie Hickey. This was the 2nd single in the album rollout. My favorite lyrical moment in the song is the 2nd verse. Hiding is easy, it's like a daydream. You can be nowhere all of the time. Hurts to be somewhere cause you gotta stay there after you say what's on your mind. I just feel like that verse is a great representation of the song as a whole and like what she's trying to emotionally get across. In my opinion though, the production on this song does take the cake over the lyrics and vocal performances, or it's at least what makes the track the boom moment that it is on the record. Track 5, Sea Lions, which is, as I said, one of the 2 third singles from the album release with Pink Balloon. This one was also produced by Caleb and Ali B, and it was written by Samia and Caleb. The line at the end of the first verse, well, if I shut up, can I come inside? Referring to him hearing her on the radio, implying she would, metaphorically at least, stop singing / making music if it meant she could be with this person, is honestly a great representation of the album thematically as a whole, which is why I think it's really great that this is the track 5. Another reason I think this is a perfect track 5 is the development of the song, which is just like fucking awesome. And it takes the song's theme of reminiscing on an entire relationship from beginning to end, as it's one that has ended, to its height so beautifully. And it leads so well into the next track, To Me It Was, which was produced by Caleb and written by Samia and Christian Lee Hudson again. This is actually one of my favorite tracks lyrically on the album. To me, this song is representation of Samia's acceptance for what is. That is obviously tangled up with this relationship of hers that is now in her past. The line at the end of the bridge, "There might not be a second coming, but that doesn't mean it was all for nothing," kind of feels like a thesis statement for the album as a whole. But what makes that stand out to me as a thesis statement is actually what comes after it. In the choruses prior, it's just, "To me it was a good time." But after the bridge, after that line, she says, "To me it was a good time," and then continues to just say, "To me it was." And it feels like Samia coming to terms with the fact that it just was in real time. Okay, so Breathing Song. This one was produced by Caleb and self-written by Samia. Samia herself said that this is a companion to the next track, Honey. Like, they go together, they're about the same thing. Given what this song is about, the use of the auto-tune on the choruses that are just no, no, no creates the precise feeling sonically of recalling traumatic events and how it feels emotionally. But what's so amazing about this song is that the no, no, no is also answering whatever question the verse prior ends with. The question at the end of verse 1 being, "Can I just sleep on the airbed?" Which is the question of an inebriated Samia asking her boy as he's carrying her up the stairs with Raggedy Doll legs. Even in that impaired state, she has a sense that she shouldn't sleep in bed with him. But then followed with the chorus of no's, you know that she ended up in bed with him, because the no's are him saying no to her saying, "Can I sleep on the airbed?" And then in the second verse, after taking her to the ER after she has had a miscarriage, the last line of that verse is him asking, "It wasn't mine, right?" And the no there seems less like a direct answer to that question and more of a denial of the situation as a whole from Samia. Denial and repulsion. In verse 3, it ends with, "You asked if I was crying," the context being them having sex. The no, no, no chorus follows, but she was crying. Here the chorus is acting like a bit more of traumatic denial. And then at the end of verse 4, it brings all the little stories that are the verses together. At this point of the song, the no, no, no has completely turned into the representation of trauma, as now all of the pieces or verses have fit together. Trigger warning, all of these verses creating the story of a sexual assault that turned into a miscarriage, putting the sorry he says right before "it wasn't mine," right, in verse 2 into a different context. A context that I personally did kind of pick up on when I was first listening to the song, but then, just like in Charm You, she confirms her suspicions of what everyone in the scenario feels and thinks and knows about the situation. He knew it was his before he asked, "It wasn't mine, right?" But then obviously this is a shitty man, has the audacity to gaslight her in her fucking hospital room from the miscarriage that was his because he raped her. While this is all tragic and depressing and all of that, in my opinion, the bridge is actually the saddest part. Even when she's explaining the sexual assault to her friend, she's still explaining it from the perpetrator's side, diminishing her own experience, because in all seriousness, that is how the world has conditioned women to view their own sexual assault. But then her friend reminds her that his intentions or whatever do not matter, since she said, going into the chorus of no, 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 confirming to the listener that even in her impaired state, she could still recall herself saying verbally and clearly no. And the production on this last chorus, with the use of the auto-tune as the theme of the song comes to its full picture, is so emotionally brutal, and I think for most women, very relatable and borderline triggering. As breaking news, almost all women have been sexually assaulted. While this song is incredibly depressing and hard to listen to, I also think it's the best song she's ever made, and I think it's brilliant and incredibly important for what it is. But then the next track, Honey, the title track, which was released as the last single with Breathing Song, they go together, as Samia said. It was produced by Caleb and written by Samia and Caleb. Samia said about the song that she wanted the song to be whichever thing anybody needs when they're listening to it. It feels hopeful to me, and hope is the saddest feeling of all. I love that she said that. It gives me hope is a dangerous thing for a woman to have, but I have it, Lana Del Rey. And I think the song as a whole exemplifies that idea very well. Na 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 was produced by Caleb and written by Samia and Christian Lee Hudson. cuts in. Out of all the writing collabs with Christian, this song is lyrically the most reminiscent of Phoebe Bridgers for sure. Track 10, Amelia, was produced by Caleb, was written by Samia and Caleb, as well as Sam Rosenstone. Amelia is actually Amelia Meath of Sylvan Esso, whom Samia toured with in 2021, I believe. This is the grooviest, most uplifting song on the record, sonically but also thematically, as the song as a whole is a love letter to her friends and collaborators. I love the line, "Oh my god, there's nothing quite like doing what you came to do." The last song, Dream Song, was produced by Caleb and written by Samia, Brenna Cassis, Dawson Friedman, and Hannah Cole. Samia said that the song is a spin on a quote from the film Waking Life. The bridge of this song feels like the concluding paragraph of the album. Sonically, I think it's perfect as the closer. The acoustic guitar was a perfect choice of instrumentation, and I love how it ends with very subtle piano into like the ambient sound. It just feels very representative of the album as a whole, and how the album as a whole is specifically about her own, experiences. Through those personal stories, the album also just feels like it's about life in general. Overall, this is a huge slay of a sophomore album for Samia. I don't have any real grievances with the album other than the fact that there's not like a giant amount of variety, but it makes the album so sonically cohesive. And I do love all of these songs, but it's not like, a Beatopia where every single song I'm like, this song has made my life. So I am going to give it a 7. So yeah, that's it for my review for today. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comments. Please remember to like and subscribe. As always, my TikTok and silly little Instagram is linked below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next review. Bye!